Lord. All right.
Hey, you.
It's so good to see you each week, Janelle.
Always, always. I love it. It looks sunny over there.
Oh, it's so sunny. It's perfect temperature. It's like
Oh,
78 degrees high.
oh my goodness. That seems
Yeah.
warm. We're in here in Vancouver, we're in the rainy season. We hit the rainy season. You remember that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
It's
remember.
downpouring.
Oh,
At this very moment, it's not, but the last like few days, it's just been miserable. Like the type where you can't see when you're driving,
oh,
because
yeah.
it's just
No.
coming down too hard. Yeah, that's what we're at right now.
Oh my gosh. I do not miss that. I mean, we had rain for a few days here last
Uh-huh.
week, and I know we need the rain, like Southern
Yeah.
California always needs rain. But after a few days of it, I was like, okay, this is enough. This is a reminder
We
why
got
I left
moisturized. We're
Vancouver.
good.
I know. And now back to sunshine.
Yeah. Speaking of moisturized, I was shopping at Costco, and for the first time that I've ever noticed, maybe just because they had it right in the front when you walk in, they had it in that, section they showcase things,
Yeah.
whole bunch of Korean skincare. So I bought a bunch, and I have no makeup on today. This is
Oh,
just this plethora of products that I bought it all. I have no idea what problem it's solving for. Like, I don't know if it's brightening, anti-aging, moisturizing. I'm not actually sure, but I'm at the point in my life where I could use it all. It's all beneficial. So, but for me, because it was Korean skincare, I bought it and I've been trying it for the past 4 days and I love it. I can tell a difference.
well,
Can
your
you?
skin looks good. I mean, I
Mhm.
think it always looks good, but you saying that you don't have any makeup on right now too.
Nothing.
Yeah, it looks so clear
Thank
and like
you.
full too.
Yeah.
Like you have lots of collagen going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's moisturized but tight.
I
I
like
like it. But I got a toner. I actually have it right here. I mean, they're like huge, huge.
Oh. Oh, let
Um,
me see the front again. I wonder if
yeah,
we have
yeah.
that
This
at
one's the
Costco here.
toner.
Oh, I have seen that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, toner, I just feel like,
What does
what
it do? I
is
have no idea what toner
toner?
does. This is the booster serum, which I'm loving, the booster serum. And you know
Hmm.
what? Actually, so you take a look at this, and I popped just one out, and that's what I've been using. And for a minute, I was like, oh man, there's so much. I'm gonna have to use this until I die. But you know what I started doing? I'm just putting it on my whole body because
Oh,
I get out of the shower, toner, serum, because I just like realized like anything that's good for my face
yeah.
has to be good for the rest of my body. Because isn't your face like the most sensitive, like that's the most premium skin, right? That you want to. So I was like, this would be good for my arms. This is good for my legs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the benefit of shopping Costco. I don't feel like I'm wasting it putting it all over my legs.
That does sound like a very expensive routine, though, for your entire body. You
Yeah,
know,
but
they
no,
have this.
but this whole thing was like, I don't know, $30 or something.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So toner on your body.
I put it on my entire body today.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I found at Costco too? Because I was getting into Korean, well, kind of getting into Korean skincare as well. But they have that mask, that overnight mask. Do they have that over in Canada?
I saw that. Yes. I did
Yeah,
not buy it because I was trying to limit myself. Like I was trying to just start with this.
yeah.
But did you get it?
I did. Yeah, Blanca and
Okay.
I tried it. We loved it. I mean, it's a little
Whoa.
uncomfortable just to
Yeah.
like put, I mean, it feels great, but then when you go to sleep, I'm
Yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah.
I like roll
Yeah.
over onto my side. But I'm like, okay, now I have this mask on. I've only done it once, but the next day, Blanca was like, wow, your skin just looks hydrated.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of fun too. It goes from like paper to then gel.
What?
I
How do they,
know.
their skincare science, like what, how do they, I mean, yeah, I love this stuff. Okay, maybe I need to try that. because I
Yeah, maybe
really
I'll
do
try
want
that
to.
toner.
Yes, I really do like the toner. I mean, if I see you sometime, I can give you one of these. Um, um, but yeah,
Uh,
I'm really liking it. I had to let you know because I
yeah,
was looking
well,
at
you look
things like,
beautiful.
thank you.
I read your newsletter this week.
Mm.
Well, I read it every
Hmm.
week, and I just loved, I so related to your newsletter about being in a funk. And of course,
Hmm.
like I can see that if it's raining in Vancouver, I felt like I was in a funk for 8 or 9 months, but I'm in a funk right now and it's
In Southern
beautiful
California,
weather.
78 degrees. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, I have been in a funk and I felt like I needed to write about it. And because I recognize the pattern that I fall in. And I was trying to think if this is an annual thing around this time, but it's
Hmm.
not really this time of year. It can happen, it can hit me at any point. But yes, I was definitely just really lacking motivation, having a hard time getting out of bed, just wanting to sit around and do nothing.
Hmm.
um, and just eating like craving sweets and just eating junk. And so I found myself, day 5 of that and feeling like this just doesn't feel good and I really need to get out of it. And as I mentioned in the newsletter, like this is familiar for me. So I know this, and
Hmm.
I've tried a lot of different methods to get out of it. And so I thought, hey, for anyone else that might either if they're experiencing a funk right now or at another time, maybe they can come back to this and try just one of these methods. And I actually had a reader reply to say what also works for him. And he was talking about, getting outside and walking his dog and not listening to anything while he's walking, just taking everything in. But he also mentioned a book. I'll have to look up the title of it, but the book talks about like how you posture yourself, like when you're out in the world and like having like a happy posture, almost like a goofy posture, and just like bringing this energy. And it made me think of a time when I was working at Nike. I don't know why I had this urge, but I wanted to bring back the high five. Like I wanted people to high five each other. So
Was that ever out?
I just hadn't used it or seen it in a long time,
Yeah.
other than like maybe like a sports scenario, but I was like middle of the workday
Yeah. Oh,
wanting,
yeah. I know. I'm
wanting
like,
to just high five people. So, because there's something about that, like a high five, it was not to love about it. So I started to walk around campus and the Nike campus, the headquarters, there's, thousands of people. So it's really easy to see people you don't know and strangers basically. So I would just like be walking and I would lock eyes with this stranger and I just put up put my hand up. And sure enough, like there was usually a bit of a hesitation because we're literally just passing each other
yeah.
outside or in the hallway. So it's not like we were celebrating something that both of us had in common,
Yeah. And
other
you didn't know each other
alive,
either.
other than we were both alive at that moment. And it was so fun. I did it for about a month, just high-fiving around the place. And every time people would start giggling because there's just something so childlike about
I
high-fiving.
love this.
So when this reader, told me about this kind of like happy-go-lucky, posturing and essence, like when you walk around it, I think there's something to it. I think it's an energy that you can put out there that even if you have to somewhat force yourself to do it, um, it'll still lift your spirits. And then it can lift
Hmm.
spirits of those around you. And then it's almost like a snowball effect because you're feeding off each other's energy. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you actually, this just made me think of, have you ever done those experiments where you try to just laugh in a room and
Oh, yeah.
then
I hate those. We tried doing that. One of our facilitators was like, let's bring this in. I'm like, I can't leave that. There's just no way that whenever somebody does that in a room, I'm like, I'm leaving. Bathroom break.
oh, look at the time.
Exactly. Okay, but so you like this.
No, I mean, I don't personally feel comfortable in those scenarios. And I think I've only been in one situation where I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny. I mean, I wasn't one of the first to participate in the laughing, but someone else, started it, just like fake laughing, just to like get it going. And then sure enough, someone was clearly laughing at them, like theirs wasn't
Yeah.
fake, like they were just giggling at the person. And then someone else starts giggling, and sure, I mean, it actually worked. Everyone was laughing
It
by the
gets you out of
end.
that funk.
It can, yeah, but that
Yeah.
requires a group of people. And a lot of times I'm by myself at my house. And so I have to just help myself get out of the funk.
Yeah.
Wait, so do you have it? So you said you're in a bit of a funk right now.
I mean, I
What's
feel
your
like,
go-to?
well, I feel like it's one of those funks where, so after Kamala Harris didn't win the election, I was in a
Mhm.
funk for a few
Yeah.
weeks, and that was
Yep.
like kind of a depressive funk.
Yep.
This one is whenever Blanca comes and visits, I just pretty much block off my calendar. I don't do any work and I eat and live like a 20-year-old. So it's like, dirty martinis at night. And then
Yes,
like gummies from Trader Joe's,
of
eating
course.
candy. Yeah, let's do this. Let's feast
Mhm.
at Din Tai Fung, in and out.
Mhm.
Like, I just eat like that. I'm not going to the
Yeah.
gym because I want to spend all this time with her. And so after she leaves, I'm like, oh, okay, I gotta clean up my act.
You're in the post-gluttony funk. You're gluttonous
Exactly.
for a long, just
Like it was fun.
yeah, it was so fun while it was happening. Okay, I get that too, actually. Like your body just feels like it needs to restart.
Yeah, totally. So I'm thinking about, so for my newsletter, I'm thinking about talking about detoxing and the
Mm,
detox I went on a few months ago, the Ayurvedic detox. And then now this was interesting. Maybe my phone is really, not maybe, of course, my phone's
it's
listening to
listening to
me.
you.
But
Yeah.
I am surprised that I was talking about Dr. Mark Hyman's 10-day detox yesterday. And this morning, I get an email from him about his detox. Do you think it's that like, it's like I
Yes, I
get it
do.
when on Instagram,
I
I'm
do.
looking at puppy things and then all these
Yeah.
puppy ads come out.
Yeah. So it's either your phone listening to you or the universe manifested it. One
I
of the
would rather
two.
think, let's think the universe manifested, because then that gives me a little bit more
Yeah.
support in doing a
Hmm.
detox on my own.
Hmm. Yeah. I like it. So you said Ayurvedic. I really want you to tell us more about Ayurvedic. Just practices, because I know that that's an area that you know a lot about, and maybe even just I would love to hear when you did your past detox, you said, like,
Mhm.
what did that entail
Oh
and
my
what
gosh,
principles
I
are you
felt
following?
amazing. I mean, like you talking about your Korean skincare, like
Mm-hmm.
I felt youthful. My
Hmm.
biological age came down. I looked better. My digestion was incredible. And that lasted actually up until, yeah, started acting like a 20-year-old 3 weeks ago.
Well, that's a pretty long time,
I
actually.
know. I was surprised at how long this
Mm.
detox lasted. But so it's panchakarma, which means 5 actions.
Hmm.
And it's a 5-day detox. You prep for it by doing some kind of a variation of a mono diet.
Mm.
And what I love about Ayurveda, it's not like this is one size fits all, one diet
Hmm.
fits all. You need to really listen to your body and recognize what foods sit well for you, how's your digestion, your energy
Mm.
levels, and so forth. So I did this mono diet of like having oatmeal. And I know it's like, oh my gosh, anti-carbs, all this, but oatmeal actually feels really good on my
Hmm.
digestion. And I feel like it's sustainable throughout the day. Like it'll sustain me it satiates my hunger. So I'll have that. And then I had rice. So again, another carb
Hmm.
with a vegetable like kale or broccoli and shiitake, lightly stir fried.
Hmm.
And so I had
Hmm.
that for 3 days. So that's the recommendation is that for a minimum of 3 days before you start the cleanse, you simplify your diet and have the
Hmm.
same thing. So oatmeal for 3 days in the morning, and then for my evening dinner, having the rice and a shiitake, mushrooms and greens. And then
Mm.
just drinking this detox tea as well. And the tea has like
Mm.
turmeric, black pepper, it has all of these herbs. So I actually took out the tea again. I was like, I gotta clean my act up here.
Yeah.
So sipping that throughout the day,
Well, and
eliminating things like
turmeric and
oat
black
milk.
pepper is supposed to be anti-inflammatory, right? Because I
Right.
have the pills that have turmeric and black pepper
Yeah.
um, that I noticed inflammation because I used to get a lot of inflammation in my low back, but it would definitely go down when I was taking
Hmm.
those. I'm not taking them now
Yeah.
because I'm out of them, but I know that it really helped me in that aspect.
Yeah. So the tea is mainly the turmeric, black pepper, some other things too. I can't remember, but and then you go there and you get this consultation. And I worked with Dr. Manas, who's the Ayurvedic doctor who is going to be our guest teacher at my silent retreat later this year. So
Ah,
part of me wanted to learn more about him.
yeah.
I had worked with his
Yep.
parents for so long, and
Mm-hmm.
like they've been connected with Deepak for years. And so I was like, I want to learn more about Manas. And it was just so great to be with somebody who like grew up in the States, an Ayurvedic doctor. He's in
Mm-hmm.
his 30s. He was so relatable. Where sometimes
Mm.
I feel like, if I don't, if I'm with somebody who's like been with Deepak for decades, sometimes I'm like, this seems unattainable. Like you've lived in
Mm.
an ashram, you have a completely
Mm-hmm.
different lifestyle than
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced. But, with Manas, he was really approachable.
Mm.
Because I was like, oh, can I have, some raw vegetables and stuff? And he's like, yeah, you can, but try to just minimize it. So very moderate approach. So you have consultations with the Ayurvedic doctor, and then daily you will have an enema, and they start you
Mhm.
off with like a mild herbal enema that's water based, and
Okay.
then alternate. I mean, everybody will be different, but this was what my recommendation
Yeah.
was. So it was
Yeah.
like water based enema, and then the next day was an oil based enema. And prior to that, you get a 2 hour treatment. So
Hmm.
it's some sort of oil massage or scrub or Shirodara, which is when they drop the oil, on your
Mm.
third eye, that marma point
Mm-hmm.
there, and it
Mm-hmm.
totally relaxes you. So you're pretty much covered in oil for 5 days. You want to wear
Inside
your
and out.
sweats, and you've got to wear a pad. So you're covered in oil, you got to wear a pad. Um, and you're not that hungry too because of the enemas.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Now,
so
why is that? Like, what about an enema makes you not hungry?
that's a good question. I'm
Maybe we
not
shouldn't
sure.
question it. Maybe we just trust it. Like, maybe we don't want to know.
Well, they do put a substantial amount of oil up in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you do feel kind of full.
Mm,
So I
interesting.
was actually fine with just two, somewhat small meals a day.
Yeah. Wow. When I asked the question of what was this detox like? That is way more involved than I anticipated. And I love it. So did you actually go to a place to
Yeah,
do
so I went
that?
so
I like
Manas
that.
works with his parents, and they have a
Yeah.
clinic in Santa Cruz. It's called the
Okay.
Ayurvedic Healing
Did you
Space.
stay there overnight?
Yeah, I stayed there overnight too. So I
Gosh.
really didn't have to,
Yeah. Yeah.
travel much
Yeah. Yeah.
except getting there.
Really contain
Um,
the experience, which is probably
yeah,
good. Yeah.
you have lots of ghee, tea,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and khichdi. So this khichdi is this Ayurvedic food that is like rice, mung beans, some
Ooh.
vegetables, but it's kind of like I feel like it's the Asian version or the Indian version of congee.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's kind of almost like they overcook it so much that it's so digestible. So yeah, I was like
Wow.
congee, Indian style.
I love it. I mean, the proof is in the results. I mean, clearly you saw a markedly positive impact on your health. I'm so, it's, it, for me, going to a place and having it and being guided through a process like a detox process, I think is something that is much more interesting to me because it it takes away the reliance on my own willpower or like my own ability to follow the
Yeah.
guidelines or the rules or to like mitigate distractions
Hmm.
in your natural daily life. So, wow. And so is that something that anyone can do
Oh,
or
yeah. Yeah. You can
hmm,
do that. I mean, I'm sure there's an Ayurvedic detox place in Vancouver too,
hmm,
right? That you could go to. And
hmm.
you could even stay at home and do this. But I feel like having the 5 days, having the guidance of the Ayurvedic doctor, I mean, they
Yeah.
also hold you accountable too. Like I can't come in the next day and be like, yeah, I just had in and out, you know. You kind of feel like, okay, they're checking your weight, they're checking all
Yeah.
these meters, they're looking at your tongue, your eyes, your pulse.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just love like detox with massage or like those treatments, like steam
Yeah.
too. One of the
Yeah.
treatments, I forgot what it's called, but you're kind of in this tent.
Mm.
And they put all this like scrub on you, and then you're in this tent for 20 minutes just steaming and you're
Whoa.
sweating it out, sweating the toxins out. But it's just like, yeah, beautiful 5 days.
That's amazing. Was there ever a point where you were, it's not uncomfortable, but where you thought that maybe this was like too much or that you wanted to stop, or were you just like fully like, this is awesome?
No, for me, it was just fully awesome. And I think it's also because Manas, it wasn't like a rigid
Mm.
doctor.
Hmm.
One day
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't feel like having oatmeal today. I really feel like having this quinoa bowl with a little bit of arugula. I mean, this is such a healthy meal, but when
Yeah.
you're on a cleanse, as specifically one with enemas too, you
Yes.
you do want to minimize, having egg but anyway, I did have like a little
Interesting.
egg, salmon, and
Okay.
arugula, and he's not like bad person. He's not
Yeah. Yeah.
scolding you for
Hmm.
deviating a little bit. So I think
Okay.
if you can find somebody who's a little bit more
Hmm.
like moderation is key
Hmm.
type philosophy, yeah, I think you would love
Wow.
it. I mean, you've done
I think I
silent
would.
retreats. It's like,
Yeah.
and who
Yeah.
doesn't want to get a 2 hour massage every day?
My husband. He
Carl
doesn't like
doesn't.
massages, which just blows my mind.
Oh, Scott's like that too. He
Maybe
will
it's
not
just
get a massage. I'm like,
oh.
what? Let's get a hot chick. Request hot female.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I can't, even though I'll never forget. I wasn't aware that he didn't like massages. Well, to his defense, he'd never had one before.
Oh,
And I got him one for his birthday one time.
yeah.
Bless his heart, he went. But apparently he was just extremely uncomfortable the whole time.
Oh, did you have a male therapist?
He had a female therapist.
Oh, okay. And he was
Mm,
still uncomfortable. Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Although I did have a massage, I've had a few massages in Asia. And I remember
Oh,
one time I think it was in Shanghai, and I went in with another coworker.
yeah.
So it was like this larger room, two
Uh-huh.
tables, and then two women massaging
Uh-huh.
us. And
Uh-huh.
I don't like to have my
Yeah.
front
Yeah.
massaged.
Yeah.
Even my stomach, I have
Who does?
challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my stomach, I'm like, oh, have to breathe through this. Or even when they're up here, by my
Yeah.
sternum, I'm like, okay, breathe. But they were just like all
Yeah.
up from collarbone down to hip bone like this. And I mean, I was so tense. I was just kind of like peeking over to see. It was with Vivian. I'm like, oh my gosh, is Vivian getting the same thing right now? Or like, what's going on? But yeah. So maybe it was like that for him.
Yes. I never really got the details of his massage to understand, but I've definitely had a few funny moments. One funny moment that I still laugh about. I was with Virginia, Virginia.
Yes.
We were in Taiwan, but this was just like a foot massage place. So it wasn't even like we didn't get undressed or anything, but we were next to each other, but there was some kind of divider between us. So I couldn't see her. All I could hear was her going too hard. Was trying to communicate. She just kept going, oh, too hard, too hard. So I'm like on my side giggling because she's trying to get through to this person that it's too hard. And they
Yeah.
just clearly weren't listening because she had to repeat herself like 8 or 9 times. And so to this day, that was so long ago, to this day, every now and then I whip that out. I'm just like too hard to her. And then the other time, sorry, my eyes stinging because I touched it and I have serum on my fingers.
Your eyes look great though.
They're gonna be really taut. So I reported someone. This was when I lived in Beaverton. I was like 25. I was young, single. Well, I mean, I just was not married. Carl and I were, I think, engaged. And I was going to a place called Massage Envy, like it's like a chain, And I've never had like a go-to massage therapist, like or even like a hairstylist. I just, whenever I need something, I just book the next available. Because I'm just like,
You're
whatever.
low maintenance that way.
Yeah. Nails, anything. I'm just like, if that day I feel like I need it done, I'll just call and when's your next available, or haircuts, anything. So massages were the same. It was just like if I was really seized up, because this was after I had like a lot of back problems after a couple herniated discs. And so there was just a day where I was at work and I was pretty, like I couldn't stand up straight. And there was this Massage Envy near Nike. So I called and they could get me in at like 11. And I had this guy that I'd never had before, and I've never cared if it was male or female. But I had this guy, and so it was one of those types of massages where you're in like your underwear, right? And then they have like a sheet. And so, and a lot of times,
Aren't all
especially,
massages like that, Janelle?
well, actually, you know what I do now? Like mostly is shiatsu, and you stay in your clothes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and they do just the elbows. So
Oh,
that's
all
pretty
right.
much all I do now. I don't do any massages where I have to get undressed anymore. But back then, of course, yeah, I was getting undressed, and so there was the sheet, and there was a point where like he was massaging my legs, and I just felt like it was just getting like too close. And then there was a point where I was, I think, on my back and the sheet, and then you know how they like can diaper you kind of like they
Oh,
tuck the
yeah.
sheets
Right.
around. Well, it could have been that he just wasn't that skilled at diapering or like that's a term, but that's like it
I
feels
like
like a
it.
diaper. But I just felt like he had like bad motives because he like was stretching my leg up and his face was like, this is getting too graphic, but it
Like,
was like
am I going to have to edit this?
comfortable. And I'm just laying there like this, like eyes wide open, leg up, and his face was really close and it wasn't very covered. And I was sweating because I was so uncomfortable. And even as I think this is the first time I've ever told that story, but even as I think back on it, like I never said anything to him. Like I never said, oh, I don't want that done or anything.
Yeah.
But after the fact, like I was just so uncomfortable. After the fact, I called the store, asked to speak to the manager, said my experience. He was actually fired. And but like I often think about why I couldn't say something in the moment, like why I couldn't like just simply tell him, oh, that's enough, or
Yeah.
oh,
Too
don't
hard.
do
Too
that.
hard.
Yeah, too hard, too close.
Too
Move your
close.
face. Um, but I have this thing where I freeze in moments. And I was acutely aware that we were in this room with the door closed. It was just the two of us. I felt
Yeah.
very vulnerable because I'm the one in my underwear
Yeah.
and
You're
nothing but
25
my
years old.
underwear. Yeah, 25. And I just remember like dripping sweat because I was so just really nervous and scared, like just trying to like get through. Usually you love a massage, but I
Yeah.
was really just counting down the minutes. And then
Oh,
even you know how oftentimes when you're going to pay, the person at the desk almost always asks, "How was your massage?"
yeah.
As if you're going to say something like, because the person's usually right there holding a water for you.
Horrible.
Honestly, you want feedback right now? Like the person's standing right there. So of course, I remember actually saying, "Oh, it was good," and then just
Yeah.
feeling like I was embarrassed that I was lying too in the moment. And I couldn't look the person in the eyes. But yeah, that story turned. It wasn't a funny story, but the guy
I
got
thought it was pretty
fired.
funny. I mean, but I know I get it. I have a hard time even now. Like it's not
Yeah.
that, but it's more like I want more pressure. That's what it usually is. It's like go
Yes.
harder,
Yes.
not too hard.
Yeah.
But
But
even then, I
like
feel
you don't want to
like
ask.
offend them or, but then
Exactly.
I'm like, I am the client who's
Hmm.
paying for the service,
Yeah.
right? Anyway,
Yeah.
but I could
I
see that like
rarely
being,
ask.
25, you're
Mhm.
practically naked, feeling vulnerable. And like there's
Mhm.
probably fear too, right? Closed
Yeah.
door, here's a guy, like you're like, just
Yeah.
get me through this.
Yeah. It was after that that I started to request female therapists. But now I just it's whoever is available. But there was a time for a while I was really, really cautious, and
Yeah.
intentional.
Mm.
But when I was in Europe, I had one of those front massages where it was
Was it a
happening.
woman?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Me too.
I didn't know they would consider doing that.
Yeah.
So, and having had massages before, I wasn't expecting it. And this was a woman, and she was great because in general, she was great because she put a lot of pressure.
Mm.
It was a really deep tissue massage. And so it was one where I started on my stomach, so it was the whole back and everything. It was like, oh my God, this is so great. I was like in my mind thinking, this is so great. And then she's like, okay, time to turn over. So we turn over and then, just doing the head. And then all of a sudden I was just like, I think I had a towel over my eyes, but if my eyelashes didn't pop that towel off because I was just like, bing, like, what?
Yeah.
What is happening right now? What are you doing? Where are you going?
Did you
But
say that or no?
no, God, no. I just lay there, but because she seemed like she knew what she was doing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
she had a plan.
Yeah, I know. I was going through that same thing too. Like when I had that woman massaging me there, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe she's draining lymph. That's probably
Yeah.
what's going on. But at the same time, I don't know how massage therapists,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't think this woman had an ulterior motive. She was just like,
No.
doing
Yeah.
her thing. But I'm wondering, couldn't she sense that I was like,
Tensing up. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm not
Just
relaxed
freaking
anymore.
out. They don't say anything. They're just
Yeah,
poking.
just keep going.
Yeah. Digging for knots.
Oh my gosh. So what did we talk about? Funk,
Funk.
massages, different massages in different
Oh,
countries.
and enemas.
Yes,
And a good
enemas.
one.
I
This is a
know.
real good one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, taking care of ourselves. That's what we're talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
It
Well,
really
I
is.
loved what I'm going to do this week to get myself a little bit more out of this funk too is one of the examples or one of the practices that you shared of just cleaning up,
Yeah,
clean up your space.
that's what I've been doing.
Clean space is a clear mind. I absolutely agree
Yeah.
with that too. So I'll be doing some of that here.
Yeah. And because what I did yesterday, I tackled my workspace area, which has a lot of stationery because
Yeah.
I am just a sucker for stationery, highlighters, pens, stickers, washi tapes, and I have a lot of it. Like if I even just reach over right here, there's like four, actually I can't reach them all, but like these little like pink washi, these aren't even open. They're like new, still in the package, but they're
What
like
is
pink.
that?
So they're called washi tape. And it's just like masking tape that you can reposition on paper. Like it doesn't tear the paper if you take it off. So you can use
Oh,
it for a lot of different things. These are decorative, so you can put them across the top of your planner or your page. You can use it to, what I do in my journal, I put a strip of washi tape between each day that I write. So I know that the
hmm.
washi tape signifies the end of that day.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
but I use them to hang up pictures and stuff. Like in my newsletter, that little prayer of Saint Francis, there's
Yeah.
washi tape
Oh,
on
okay.
top because you can reposition it. It doesn't peel paint or anything. But I
Hmm.
have a lot of these. I have a lot of different rolls, and so anyway, I gathered a whole bunch, like bags and bags of them, and I gave them to someone who works at a like after school program, like that just watches kids after school at the school, and they're fifth graders. And so she took them and she's using them as rewards, like when they help clean up and
Yeah.
stuff. And apparently they're loving them. So it's like, gosh, they're just sitting in drawers here because I have so many of them. And now they're getting, bringing joy to these kids. And it
Yeah.
didn't, wasn't hard for me to, gather them up and just give them to someone that I knew could use them. And
Hmm.
it decluttered my workspace. So it's like a win-win when you just take the time to actually gather up these things. Someone can use them.
Yeah. I love how you often are thinking about others. Like when,
Oh,
with Valentine's, I was so
yeah.
inspired by, what you shared, what you and Carl were going to do with
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. And now, like, yeah, instead of just donating them, usually what I'll do is I'm not as specific. I'll just donate them to the Salvation Army drop off because it's
Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
be able to go to a school and be like, hey, here's, no, I mean, when I
Yeah.
was a little girl, I collected erasers. Like I just so and
Me
tape too,
too.
Sanrio, Hello Kitty,
Yes.
all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I can imagine that's bringing so much joy to fifth graders.
Yeah, because I had some really cute pens. I had a lot of notebooks that were still like I'd use maybe, the first 10 pages. So I just ripped off the first 10 and then it's like a
Hmm.
new notebook for someone.
Yeah.
So I had a whole bag full of just stationery and I know that it's gonna be used, which makes me
Yeah.
happy.
Well, it's so good to connect with you,
Yeah, you
Janelle.
too.
Thanks for the
Well, I'm
giggles.
gonna look up one of these Ayurvedic detoxes.
Yeah,
Look that
Panchakarma.
up. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you
Oh,
for
well,
telling
I'll
me
see you
about it.
next week.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. Bye,
Bye.
Danielle.